Hey everyone, this is Ian and Friends Giro edition. I am senior editor Ian Dille.
I'm Michael Sheehan.
And we had an exciting stage 4 at the Giro d'Italia today on the island of Sicily. We're going to talk about what went down and look ahead to tomorrow's stage. What did we see today?
Yeah, right when you tuned in, you could tell that the tone of affairs was a little bit different. First off, World Tour riders in the breakaway today.
Yeah.
That means that it wasn't necessarily just pro-Conti guys going for TV time and KOM points that, no disrespect, but ultimately aren't going to matter in a week's time. You know, there were World Tour guys who saw the possibility of a breakaway working. It was a really hard course today, and you could see it in the faces of the guys in the peloton as well. It was originally meant to be 198 kilometers long. Due to road work, they extended it to 202, so that was kind of like an extra little kick to morale.
That seems very Giro. Like, oh, we had to throw on 3 extra miles on a 125 mile stage, no big deal, right? Especially on Sunday also, they did like 140 miles, then a travel day, and then this, so.
They're clocking the Ks right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was tough, and there just weren't really any flat roads out there. It was one of those days in the saddle that is just, you're on the pedals all day, compared to a typical sprint day that you get a lot of coasting. Like 200 kilometers at this stage is a totally different thing than the 200 kilometers that we saw the last day in Israel.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful course on the island of Sicily, just small roads winding through the hills. I mean, I want to go ride my bike in Sicily now. It looked awesome.
It looked beautiful.
And I'm sure a little bit more anxious in terms of being in the field, being one of the GC contenders. You know, the last 2 days they were on these like 3-lane highways, and you know, now they're kind of back to real European bike racing and fighting for position and not just being able to go wherever they want, whenever they want.
Yeah, this was a quintessential Giro stage. The run into the finish was just like absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
You know, from 6.5K to go, we saw an Astana rider just get, it was insane. It went from like a pretty like average sized road into a road maybe 2 meters wide, just like barriers pinched him in. As, of course, like when you have a pinch, people are touching wheels and kind of riding erratically, just trying to stay upright. A Astana guy just like pinged out of the pack and hit the barrier, and that created the finishing lead group essentially of about 40 riders.
Yeah, Andre Zeitz, he was close to the front too. I mean, he was in probably that top 20, 30 riders where you're supposed to be, but yeah, he was just right on the edge of the road and got caught out. And he caught a lot of other riders out with him. We weren't able to see exactly what GC contenders were far enough back that they got caught behind that crash, but maybe Chris Froome was. We'll go into where he finished in a bit, but there was guys, it was one of those crashes where the road was completely blocked and guys were just standing there waiting to get back on their bikes and keep going.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do in that situation. It goes into like one of these just conundrums that you have in professional cycling where all the team riders, they're getting yelled at by the director in their earpiece saying you have to be at the front, really, really crucial point coming up in 2 kilometers, 1 kilometer, get to the front. So you have all these team trains just like trying to occupy the same few square meters of road space, and then because they're trying to avoid getting crashed out, but then this mad dash to the front is what causes the crashes and chaos behind.
Yeah, I mean, but from there, what a finish, man. I mean, everybody knew what was coming up in the end, just a real steep, maybe less than a K climb to the finish, technical run-in, and yeah, it was splitting up all over the place. We saw really the ride of the day was Lotto. They just ripped it and tore the field into shreds, forced a little breakaway there at the end.
Yeah, they went into the finish with intention. You know, Tim Wellens obviously had been eyeing this stage for the win. It was right up his alley. And man, teammate of the day award, Tosh van der Sande on Lotto. He took it from about 3K to go, this like really, really technical descent, lots of, you know, fast, tight turns. He just guided the peloton safely down. Tim Wellens was locked in his wheel, you know, like just perfect teammate, riding really, really fast, but also smooth, you know, a wheel that Wellens knew he could trust, and that set him up for the finish. There was actually a group of about 5 guys who hit the climb about a few seconds ahead of the rest of the pack because of Tosh's effort.
Yeah, we saw our man Nate Brown hanging on to the back of that group.
Man, he like just tacked onto the back of it when that gap opened up. I was excited for a second.
Well, you know, because he was there, then Cannondale, for the brief period that he was there, Cannondale didn't have to put someone on the front and chase, and you know, we saw that set Mike Woods up for a nice finish. So, you know, I'm sure he didn't have the total ride he wanted, but he did play a role for the team. The other team that was,
I was just gonna say, it was good heads-up riding also for the young American, and you know, on form. So let's see what he does the rest of the tour.
Yeah, I mean, the other team that was impressive was Mitchelton Scott. I mean, they had Jack Haig in that front group. Chavez came across with Nate Brown. So 2 guys in the lead group, and then Yates right behind on the front, kind of ready to pick up the scraps. In the end, the front group did come back to the field in the last few hundred meters, and it was an all-out sprint.
Yeah, Wellens was the last man standing from that little selection, and he did manage to get it, but it was a hard, like, minute effort up that thing. And another amazing ride, Mike Woods.
Yeah, let's. Can you raise your hand if you are yelling at your computer screen for Woods to win?
I would.
No favorites, but he's an American, North American,
and that is something that's just so rare to see, because he was racing for, you know, then Optum, now Rally Cycling, just a couple years ago, and you know, everyone I think at this point kind of knows Woods' background. He was a runner, came into the sport really late, and it is just so rare for a guy who's in his late 20s to even get the opportunity to go race at the World Tour in Europe. But he is, man, just like throwing every stereotype about a latecomer to the sport out the window. Just so strong. Rode with incredible maturity up the climb, never panicked, just, you know, surfed the wheels right where he needed to be, and had the legs for a second place.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was super impressed with his ride at Liège a few weeks ago. Another very technical, challenging, punchy race. And, you know, I asked him in an interview after that race if he had, what he had done to gain bike handling and positioning skills so quickly coming to the World Tour when he was already 29 years old. And it was interesting. I mean, he said that the biggest thing that helped him was mountain biking.
Really?
He actually, you know, I think after he lost a stage by getting dropped on a descent, he went and bought a mountain bike and just shredded as many technical trails as he could. And he said that really helped his awareness, pack handling skills, positioning, everything. Just having that ability to make micro adjustments on the fly.
It's working for him. That's cool to hear. Yeah, and he has been really downplaying his GC ambitions leading up to the Giro, but I think that he's got to be eyeing it. You know, I don't think he's just there hunting stage wins. Did you ask him about that?
You know, he said that stage wins are their first ambition, and he said in an interview that we have on the site following the stage that they are here to win a stage, and second places aren't going to cut it. So they're obviously very, very determined. It's good to see that there's no consolation prizes at this Giro, but for sure, in the back of his mind, I don't think he was that happy with his time trial on Friday, losing almost a minute.
Yeah, and
he's looking for stage wins where he can win from the field. I don't think we're going to see him in any breakaways.
Cool.
What's on tap for tomorrow? It's kind of deja vu to what we saw today.
Yeah, it's going to be another day on the pedal, so a bit shorter. We're looking at about 150 kilometers, but there are 3 Cat 4 climbs within the last 60K. And, you know, another kind of crazy run-in into a uphill finish.
Yeah, it's going to be another day for the Classics guys. I think Stibar was actually caught behind that crash today, so he wasn't a factor in the finish. But yeah, obviously Wellens was a favorite to win. He'll be a favorite to win tomorrow. Bataglin had an incredible ride today, so he'll probably be up in the mix tomorrow. And Woods did say in his interview after the race today that he's going to be gunning for tomorrow as well. So be ready to shout at your computer screen.
Yeah. Until then, we'll find out.
See you later.
Thanks for watching.